Are men trash?
Oh, cis, heterosexual men, absolutely, especially white men.
Guys, men are all trash, okay? The other day, I was about to look in the direction of a man, and my eyeballs caught on fire because they're all so ugly. I only look at women now, guys, because I'm a feminist. Today, we're looking at a street interview where this guy basically goes and interviews regular people and asks them, is feminism relevant in today's society? Now, keep in mind, this interview is in America, which is the land of the free, you know, the land of the free to hate an entire gender and stereotype them based on a few single interactions they had.
Today I'm out here and I'm asking, is feminism still relevant in today's society?
Yeah, absolutely. If anything, it's more relevant now than it ever was.
Of course it's relevant. Throughout history, women have been discriminated against.
It is, but I think it's changed a lot.
Okay, I definitely agree here. I think we started off as a movement to try to correct inequalities in today's society, right? A noble movement directed at providing people with equal rights. But now the movement has kind of been hijacked by a select group of people that just want to feel superior to others.
Now it's morphed into something that's more preaching like a superiority over men kind of stance. Like I work with some people who would consider themselves heavy feminists and they are constantly dogging on men and they openly say, I hate men.
Okay, this just baffles me. I really don't know how you can call yourself a feminist and simultaneously say, I hate men. Isn't the whole point of it equality? I don't really know why we can't get along as just two necessary components to society. Without women, none of us would be here. We were all birthed by a woman. But obviously, we gotta look at the other side as well. Without men, society would not function. You know, who built the buildings, the electricity, the power, all of that? We need all of it to function. I really feel like you can only talk smack about men when you're incredibly privileged, because you're living under all the things that men built, right? The roof under what you're living under was built by a man. The water supply is being run by a man. You know, the people protecting your country are men. And then you're sitting in your cozy little bubble there being like, I hate men. All the people that are supporting you are men.
I would say that as long as men are alive, feminism is always going to be relevant.
Why?
Because men.
Now, this is the kind of intellectual discourse I like. Because men. I don't need to explain anything, just because men, you know?
What rights do men have today that women don't?
Oh, let's go down the list.
A woman can still walk a street and not feel protected versus a man can.
I think we all have equality when it comes to laws.
Men are able to walk out maybe in whatever they want to wear, or, you know, be able to stand strong through societal pressure.
Okay, spoiler alert, none of those were rights per se. In terms of rights in Western society, it's largely equal. Now, in terms of living life on your day-to-day, everybody is born with some inherent advantages that are very hard to correct. For example, in income inequality, if somebody is born richer than the other, it doesn't really matter if you're male or female. A richer person is probably going to have a life 100 times easier than a poorer person. Yet we don't really look at what somebody's like spawned in with. We don't correct everybody and start everybody like a game of Monopoly at $2,000, right? So that's inequality right there, but it's kind of impossible to correct. Now, between men and women, we definitely have a bunch of inequalities as well. For example, men are physically stronger, if I'm allowed to say that, I'm sorry. But, you know, maybe carrying groceries is easier. If an attacker comes at you, you're more likely to fend them off, provided they don't have a knife or a gun. And because men are stronger, it also leads to some inequalities that people don't think about. Like, they have to go and die in war because they're the strong ones supposed to protect the country. They have to construct all the buildings, back-breaking labor, brick by brick. Now, women can lift bricks too, but, you know, they don't. There's definitely perks on both sides, and if you start comparing, you're obviously going to feel depressed and unhappy and feel like the grass is greener on the other side. In reality, everybody is born with a set of cards, okay? Just the fact that you have 4 limbs, that's a huge privilege, okay? Some people didn't even get that card, bro. Be thankful for what you have. Okay, and play with the cards you got.
I feel like women take a lot of precautions just by being a woman themselves, you know.
Statistically, just going into like a corporate setting, if you look at how women are rated on performance review versus men, the language that's used, you know, assertive versus bossy, or kind of the dynamic of how individuals are interacting in the workplace, I do think that there are societal norms that place women at a disadvantage, absolutely.
I think you have to, so for instance, for pregnancy, right, there's no law saying employers can't like fire you if you're pregnant. Or like, for instance, like that's a law that like only affects women, right?
But don't you think that's just kind of explained by like biological differences?
But why does that justify making a law anyway that literally discriminates women?
Okay, so here's where the cards come into play again. So if you get born a woman and you get pregnant while working a job, because of capitalism, right? Your employer is going to treat you like trash because there's another person, there's another woman maybe who's not pregnant, or there's another man who can work harder because he doesn't have to go through labor. And spoiler alert, your corporate CEO boss doesn't actually care about you. They just care about how much work you're doing. So obviously, they're just gonna replace you or treat you like trash, right? So in an ideal society, maybe women just spawn with 9 months extra more money so they can, I don't know, deal with the pregnancy, but you can't correct every single inequality. As I said, everybody has some cards, you know?
And so biological differences lead to different treatments and reality. And so I wanted to take a different view on this topic of equality. Do you think today that women have certain privileges that men don't have?
Yeah, part of that goes into being able to say certain things that, you know, men would get scolded for.
They can just talk completely out of their ass freely. You're not allowed to say nothing back.
Oh my god, what a misogynist. Even the girl, yeah, she's a misogynist too. Disgusting. How dare you point out something that can potentially maybe be true? Disgusting behavior, if you ask me. In my expert opinion, guys, only women are oppressed. That's why the male necking yourself rate is 4 times higher than women. Because, you know, the privileged guys are the ones that jump off buildings, in my opinion, obviously.
Let's say, like, do men have problems that, let's say, that women don't experience? For example, in statistics, like, men have higher rates of suicide, and, you know, obviously men die more when it comes to, like, wars.
Women can go to war.
Yeah, but how about, like,
Women can go to war.
Okay, so this part is a little baffling to me, how people just kind of dismiss certain problems like, women can go to war. But are they? 99% of people who go to war are men. It's kind of like, you know, a girl saying that, okay, most people who get touched inappropriately are women. And then I come and say, and I'm like, well, men get touched too. Like, yeah, but not overwhelmingly the majority, right? So you can acknowledge the problem exists, right? Why can't we just say that there's problems on both sides and they need to be fixed instead of saying only one side has problems, the other side is incredibly privileged?
I feel like the war thing is a little hard to get into just because for the majority men are going to war. It's not really women going to war, so of course more men die.
why do you think that is?
I feel like that's just because it's kind of like the roles that society portrayed forever ago. Men are warriors and men are the ones that are fighting, and then women.
Do you think more women should go into war then?
Absolutely not. No woman should ever go into any military.
But wouldn't that be going against equality if you're barring women from going in the military then?
Well, I'm not saying barring, but I'm saying like I feel like as a woman you should know that you're not going to be putting yourself in a healthy situation going into the military.
I don't think any man is going to the army and going to war and going like, this is a healthy situation I'm putting myself in. In fact, I love getting my arm blown off, you know, shot off by this rifle. It's actually my kink. I love it. Like, nobody's saying that, bro. The truth is, it's a responsibility they have, and they are insanely, insanely brave people. And we, regardless of if we're a man or woman, we should respect them for actually protecting us so we can sit on our cozy asses all day complaining on the internet, okay?
Do you think in this sense that men have less privilege today than women?
Privilege is all kind of like how you look at it, what you're looking for. I think I'm pretty privileged. A lot of black people probably don't say they're privileged, so that's kind of how I look at it. We need to just stop looking and thinking everybody got greener grass and kind of just accept the fact we're not in a third world country, you know, with Russia invading us or some bullshit, you know what I mean?
Amazing. Now this guy is a guy I would love to have a conversation with because he seems to understand that just because you're a man or you're white or something doesn't mean you're privileged. You can be a poor white guy, all right? Your life can be horrible like that. But I think we judge by the individual and not the entire race, okay?
May I ask you, like, what are some, like, examples of misogyny that you faced?
Oh, let's see. I went through there was one time, I'm a psychology major. We were tasked with counting how many times we got catcalled. I realized every time during that month I went to a gas station at nighttime, I got catcalled.
Okay, this might be one of the times I may agree with her. Like, people who catcall are extremely cringe, and I feel like, you know, don't be a pig, you know? You don't gotta be obnoxious to every single woman you walk past, right?
I've seen some of my guy friends literally make 30 grand more than some of my girlfriends just because they're men.
But let's say that the pay gap does exist. Why wouldn't firms just hire women then?
They have to find probably quotas at this point.
Do you think there's quotas for men?
Wow, she just got shut up real quick. But listen, you're saying your male friends earn $30,000 more than your female friends for working the exact same job. That literally makes no sense because, as he said, the company would literally just hire all women then, because why would they pay 30K extra to the men if you're doing the same job? It makes literally no sense. That's why I gotta call cap here, all right? There's a different reason for that pay gap. And if there's no reason for that, you can literally sue them, okay? It's completely illegal.
There's a lot more men in power in the top 1%. A lot of the women are the ones left in the dust.
There's definitely, like, in the top 1%, I think there's definitely more men, for sure. But let's say, like, in the bottom, right? Like, most are men. You know, most people with depression are men. Do we sometimes ignore that?
The thing is, for some reason, people want equality of outcome, which makes no sense, okay? Even if everybody has the same amount of opportunity to become a CEO, it can still end up with 99% of men being CEOs. Because, believe it or not, maybe men and women have different aptitudes, and maybe men are more greedy, more ruthless, they're more willing to destroy charities to get ahead in life or something like that. That could account for them being CEOs. Maybe women are more caring, and that's why they're not billionaires, okay? There's plenty of reasons for this, but the goal should be equality of opportunity for everybody, and women should have the opportunity to become billionaires. It shouldn't be 50-50 though, because reality is you can never achieve a 50-50 every single place. 50% preschool teachers are never going to be male. It's just not going to work like that in every aspect of society. You just got to give everyone an equal chance to make it.
Are men trash?
Cis, heterosexual men, absolutely, especially white men.
Weren't you just talking about equality?
Oh, absolutely. But we have to have that viewpoint because of how much we've been attacked just by that gender.
But you just said that all straight men are trash. Like, that's a pretty big generalization, don't you think?
It definitely is. It's not necessarily something I'm gonna saying via statistics. I'm saying via experience.
This is the problem. You're saying based on your individual experience and not statistics. That's the exact opposite of what you should be doing. So let me get this straight. You had one bad experience with a straight white man, and somehow all guys are bad now. Do you hear yourself? By that logic, I had a bad experience with you, so all women are bad now. But I'm not going to think that because I've met plenty of wonderful women in my life. So I'm not going to generalize an entire gender based on one cuckoo crazy like this. And neither should you. And why do you get to be openly racist and sexist with minimal repercussions? I mean, I guess you're getting torched on the internet, so that's fair enough.
I don't think men are trash. Men just have more advantages. But like I said, like I wouldn't want to be on the front lines of like, you know, some army. I don't.
That's when feminism goes out the window, right?
Yeah, that's it. 100% does.
Men have more advantages, but I don't want to be in the front lines of an army. You cannot make this up. What? You know, after this video, I hate everybody. I hate men, women, children, all of you, okay? Click this video if you too hate somebody. Treat people with respect, man.